Next, we're going to talk about articulation. In simple terms, articulation just means how you approach a note. Are you going to play the note short? Are you going to connect it into the next one? Are you going to play it with an accent? Things like that. Now, we're going to kind of move right through articulation because articulation varies depending on the instrument you play. For instance, if you're playing keyboard versus guitar, for instance, or violin versus trumpet, there's real specific articulations for specific instruments, but there are several that are pretty much universal. The first one is called staccato, and staccato versus legato. Now again, we're talking about Italian terms, but they're really simple. Staccato just means short, and legato means connected. So for instance, just take this melody. I can play it short, where each note is staccato, or I could play that whole phrase legato, which means connected. See the difference? So there's staccato, short, or legato, which means connected. Now, staccato, that sign is a little dot over each note. You can see in the graphic, when you see that dot, you know you need to play it short. The legato is marked by a curved line called a slur. Now, this is a little bit of a trap because if you remember when we talked about ties earlier, it's that same curved line. The difference is this. A tie is a curved line that connects two notes that are the same. And if you remember, basically that just means that you add the value of both notes, but you don't reattack the second note in a tie. A slur is that same curved line, but it's over different notes. So just like in that phrase, it's walking up through 5 different notes, and the slur covers those 5 notes. That means you connect them all together. That's the difference between a slur and a tie. Now, accents, well, that's pretty simple. If there are really important notes in the piece that you want struck particularly hard, you put an accent over it, and you see the accent in the graphic. Now, there's lots of places where you hear accents in music. You know, for instance, the beginning of Beethoven. You can see in the music those accent marks, and obviously the entire orchestra is striking each of those notes powerful. Now, you know, downbeats and backbeats in music always will have a particular accent. That's just part of the groove of the song. But we talked about syncopation earlier. That's when an accent shows up in an unpredictable place, or a place where you wouldn't normally expect it. Listen to this, for instance. You know the song Morning into Dancing. This is interesting because originally Tommy Walker wrote Morning into Dancing pretty much with the accents falling right on the groove, like this. Where everything fell right on the beat. Now, for some reason, when I first heard that song and I recorded it on one of the early Integrity albums, I heard it much more Latin and syncopated. So I sort of heard it going like this. So in order to make that accent push, I not only needed to write the rhythm that way, but I needed to put accents on those notes so that they would be kicked in the band like that. See the difference? So that's what an accent does. It just puts a powerful start on the beginning of each note. And there's some other articulation things too that you're going to see. You can check the book for things like fermata, sometimes called a bird's eye. That just means if you're going along in the groove, you get to a fermata, you hold. You break the rhythm and you just hold. Wait for the director or the conductor to tell you when it's time to go ahead. Another articulation, I mean there's a bunch in the book you need to check out. Tremolos, trills, grace notes, glissandos, broken chords, raked chords, things like that. There's a listing in the book that goes through all those things, so definitely check that out.